Joe, I feel so very alive.
But when I'm with Toby, there is someone with me in my grief.
Hello and welcome to Movie Trailer Rankings. We take a closer look at the latest trailers on the internet and then we rank them. Today we are going to take a closer look at a trailer from last week called The Sky is Everywhere. Where does it fall on the leaderboards? Stick around and find out. But before we do that, if you want to see more content like this, be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and bell button. You'll get notified when we put out new material. Okay, it is on to the trailer. Let's go.
There were once two sisters. The older sister walked ahead of the younger one, so the younger one always knew where to go.
How are you doing? Because your grandma and I have been a little worried about you.
My sister is dead. There's no more music in me. No more dreams in me.
I've lost the one person on Earth who understood me.
How is school? Bad as expected?
He's a new boy in honor band.
Hey, you must be Lennon Walker.
Toby stopped by. Go keep him company, make him feel welcome.
He is not interested in talking to me.
She was the love of his life.
No one at school gets it.
I don't think it's possible to get it unless you're in it, like we are.
You believe in signs from the beyond?
I believe in everything.
'Cause you've got me.
Yes, by the way. The heart breaks. Music escapes. That's how it gets out.
If the tide takes California, I'm so glad I got
Joe
to hold
Fontaine,
ya.
Toby Shaw.
And if
I know I shouldn't have come. I just miss her so much.
I know I had
We're here without her.
to
Toby, I can't.
We're gonna be okay.
If the tide takes California,
What's going on with you two?
I'm so
Grief and love. I don't think we get one without the other.
With Joe, I feel so very alive.
But when I'm with Toby, there is someone with me in my grief.
I want to live like my sister did, with daring and spirit and so much joy.
Alright, hey, before we get started here, if this is your first time and you don't know how we rank trailers, we made a video to describe that whole process. You can check it out in the link above in the upper right there or in the description below. Definitely check that out. And let us know what you think. We want to hear from you about it, about our process too. So in order to rank this trailer, though, first we need to cover a few of the critical non-factors. These are things that we determine are about the movie, not necessarily about the trailer. We don't want them to get in the way of our ranking. So some of the critical non-factors for this trailer are just because it is an artistic movie. You know, it seems to have a lot of artistic license. That's something that sometimes people like and sometimes people don't. You know, once you see characters flying around on wires, if it's not a kung fu movie, maybe that's a real turnoff for someone. They might just say, forget it. But that's the movie. That's not the trailer. And so our question is, how do they use that? Along those lines, too, this is a really bright color palette. It's really sort of an interesting choice given the subject matter of the movie, too. So I think there's some really interesting things going on from an art direction standpoint on this movie. And it's more of a question of how they use it in the trailer. But the actual colors, the tones, the aesthetic of the movie are things about the movie. They're not about the trailer. And then the last one is something I'm going to call shallow profundity. This is just to do with, there seems to be, this movie's making some philosophical statements, and some of them I think, are designed in a way to make the movie seem like it really has something profound to say, that there's something real substantial here. And that's not to say that people can't watch this movie and get something out of it. In fact, I hope they do in a way. But I'm always a little nervous when I see things like this in a trailer. So we'll talk a little bit about how they use it in a minute. But at one point, she asks the question of one of the characters. The protagonist asks the question, do you believe in signs from beyond? And the other character says, I believe in everything. And man, when I hear that kind of stuff, I think, well, first of all, this is a little bit of a tangent here, but whenever you hear a philosophical statement like that, the first question you should always ask is, well, what do you mean by that? Because he can't mean that he actually believes in everything. Because if he believes in signs from beyond and he believes that, but he believes everything, then he also believes that there are no signs from beyond. So anyway, whether this is good philosophy or not, we are not going to hold that against this trailer. That comes with the movie. We're just going to see, again, how they used it. So moving on here, let's talk about the scoring. Okay, so what feels like to me a slow start from a visual and narrative perspective picks up as the trailer goes along. But just because of how much visual flair is in this movie, it sort of feels like a bit of a missed opportunity to have not led off with something a little bit stronger from a visual standpoint. So this could have been a real stylish trailer, but I think most of the style actually is in the footage. So they're not winning a lot of style points there. The music is strong. I think it's a good choice and it's used well. So some strong marks there. As I mentioned earlier, trailers are generally more successful when they ask questions but don't give answers. So this is kind of getting back to some of the philosophical elements that they showed in the trailer. This movie is about dealing with grief and loss and what does life look like when things get hard. And so I, as an audience member, would be more drawn in by clips that feature the questions that I'm going to be asking in that situation and the questions that the protagonist asks rather than clips of the other characters just giving their answers to her. I think we just recently reviewed the trailer for The Fallout, dealing with a school shooting scenario, and I think actually that trailer did a much better job at that than this one does. Just allowing space for the questions, for the grief, the heartache, the emotional component for us as an audience to kind of enter into that space. And I feel like if you're just giving answers all the time, it actually kind of pushes us out a little bit. Oh, you're just telling me how I'm supposed to feel about this. But that's not really what's going to draw me in. So I think you need to make me as an audience member resonate with the questions and sort of come to the theater to hear the answers. So I was going to score the narrative lower for this, but when I rewatched it, I came to this clip.
Toby, I can't.
Okay. We're going to be okay.
This is perfect. They do an excellent job of setting up the tension that the protagonist has between the two love interests, and this clip scores big on building drama and anticipation, and it makes you want to know what happens. A great job of editing here that develops both the story and creates some impact that helps market the movie. That's the kind of thing that they needed really throughout. So that bumped their score up a bit on both the narrative and on the impact pieces. So overall, we're going to give the trailer for The Sky is Everywhere a score of 7.2 out of 10. All right, let's take a look at the leaderboards and see where it ends up. This is from last week, so it's going to end up with a pretty decent ranking for the month. For the year, it's about mid-range, not bad. So that's going to do it for us today. We want to hear from you. Let us know what you think. Did we get it right? Did we get it wrong? Tell us in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.